In this video, we're going to demonstrate how you can set up and use the Settings button within the Open Data File Interface window. As a prerequisite, we're going to assume that you already know that you can take an Excel workbook, a Microsoft Access project, or an ExcelRT file and turn it into a protected licensed application with a custom Open Data File Interface window for the application that's presented every time the application is launched. So we're going to specifically focus now on what this settings button is, how it can be used within your application, how you can set it all up. So first, we're going to use the new button and create a couple of sample workbook files within our application. And of course, if you double-clicked on one of these files, it would then open up into your Excel environment, your Access environment, or your ExcelRT. Now, in order to use the settings, the user of your application will just click on the Settings button, and a dialog is going to pop up. And there they can enter some general setting information that you want to make available to all these different files that you've created within your application. So let's just go and fill in a little bit of information here. So let's say John Doe is an adult male. His favorite color is blue, and he's got a hobby fishing, or we could just type in a hobby in this combo box. So we've set up some setting information. Now we want to make those available to the various files that we're creating within our application. So let's open up one of these files. Now in this case, we're launching this into ExcelRT. The same process would work for an Excel application launched into Microsoft Excel or an Access application. And we could have our application set up to where that setting information could just automatically be pulled in and populate various cells and use it however we wish. In this case, we just have a button linked to a single line of script that does that. So if we click the button, we see how it's now pulled it in and populated some cells, A1 through A6. So let's carry on with our project here, and let's open up the Project 2 file created with our application and see how we can again use those same settings. When the application opens the file, the setting information could just be automatically pulled in, but for this little example, we actually have a button that runs a line of script to pull it in. So we see how the same setting information now is being used by these two different files. So let's close out of that file, return to the Open Data File window, and let's say the user has decided to make some changes to those settings. So they click the Settings button, brings it up, and they want to change their favorite color to green. And now when they go into any one of those files, it can be instantly be made available and pulled into the file, or as we've set it up in this example, a button click can pull it in. So now that same setting information, we've demonstrated how it can be used across a wide variety of different files for different projects that you're doing. And the user has a single place where they can go and edit that setting information by clicking on the Settings button. You're probably wondering how you as a developer set up and customize that settings dialog when you're building your application. You do that with the Add License Wrapping tool. So within Add License, you can see here we're wrapping an ExcelRT file into an application just like we would wrap an Excel workbook or a Microsoft Access file. And if we go to the options for this, you'll see there is a bunch of different checkboxes for setting up all the options for our Open Data File Interface window, including a Settings button where we can customize our settings. So we just create a list of whatever field names that we want to create, and next to each field name we can select what type of field it is. And these are the different options that we have available. So here we have a couple of edit fields, and then we have a checkbox field. And in the case of a checkbox field, we give the name of the checkbox. In the case of a radio button field, we give the name of each option we have for our radio button collection, separated by commas. Likewise with a pop-up or a combo box field. And once we've done all this, we can take a quick look at what it's going to look like to an end user while we're in our development mode by just clicking the preview button. It just pops up a little sample dialog here where we can go and kind of try it out. And let's just go ahead and do that now. So let's just type in John Doe, adult, male, red. Let's change that to green and type something in here. And then if we click OK, it'll actually just pop it up and kind of tell us what the format of that settings file actually looks like. So what happens is within the Open Data File environment, you're already probably familiar with how it creates a data folder where all your files are stored on your hard drive. And in that data folder, there's going to be a settings data file that's going to have your setting information stored in this format. Now, you could write some VBA script or some other scripting to pull that out, but that's already available for you within the quick license environment. So there's already commands where you can just, with a single command, pull in the information you want into your ExcelRT scripting environment or your VBA environment, and then put that data in whatever cells you want or do whatever you want to with that data. So as mentioned, from a Microsoft Workbook, Excel Workbook, or Access project, you can use a little bit of VBA code, call a command in the quick license runtime to easily pull in your settings data into your workbook. You can do the same thing with a line of scripting within ExcelRT, and we'll go ahead and demonstrate that now. So we have kind of the development environment for ExcelRT shown here, where we're going to open a file up into ExcelRT, and then we'll go to the button action screen where we can write a little script. And let's just focus on, we have this button here. When this button is clicked, it runs this button 1, which runs this line of script right here. And the essence is, here's the name of the command, settings load, and it has a bunch of pairs of parameters. The first one is the name of one of our fields that we set up when we were configuring our settings dialog a moment ago. And then we just have a cell reference, and then the name of another field and a cell reference, and the name of another field and a cell reference, and so on. And that's basically all there is to it. When you click the button, it runs that line of script, and it pulls the data and sticks it into the appropriate cells of this workbook. Or if you prefix the name of the workbook on these different cell references, it could go into any sheet within this workbook. If you're a developer using Quick License to create applications for Microsoft Excel, Access, or ExcelRT projects, you now have a new tool to make your projects more powerful and useful to your customer using the settings button.